Hello and welcome back to the IOSportscast. With me, as always, I've got Ollie. Say hello.
Hi guys.
And we are talking about the US Grand Prix from the wonderful Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas. A track,
Aye.
a track that I really do enjoy the races on. I enjoy it on the game. I enjoy watching the Grand Prix. It's just a nice little track.
Yeah, it's I enjoy it as well. I enjoy it. We've had a few good races at
Yeah,
COTA, and this one was one of them.
yeah. This is the ninth Grand Prix in Austin, which it feels still like a brand new track, even though we're
Yeah, it does.
like
Yeah, it does.
nearly 10 years in now. Um, we're going to start as always with race rating, best driver, worst driver, and our predictions. Um, I thought that this was an okay race. It wasn't a standout, top-notch race. There were a few good overtakes and a couple of nice little battles, but strategy played quite the part for most of it. And yes, as great as the last few laps were, if you're not into that sort of thing, then it's not like it's not something that's easy to follow unless you're aware of that sort of strategy thing.
Yeah, definitely.
So I'm going to give it like a 7.5 out of 10, somewhere like that. Like it was a good race, but um, it's not going to
Oh
be one that I
shit.
remember that much for, other than the Lewis strategy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I've got to agree with you. I'll probably give it the same. 7.5, 7.5.
Seven and a
Uh,
half all round.
yeah. So yeah.
Who
Who were you going
was?
for best driver
Well,
or worst driver?
I was just about to ask you. Who am I going to go for? I think I think I'm kind of torn, uh, as I always am with these sort of things. Max's drive was a very mature drive. Um,
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
he gave a lot of ideas about strategy and potential calls, like to use Checo and push Lewis to a different strategy, which
Mhm.
is not easy to do. Is made even more difficult by the fact that he's fighting for his first ever world championship, and it's on a track that traditionally Mercedes have run away with.
Yeah, that is true.
So that's one option. The other option is Vettel's push back through the field from the back of the grid. Uh, but I think just for the because of how it was a genuinely mature, good race from Max, probably one of his best races. I'm gonna
Yeah.
give it to Max Verstappen. Uh, I'm just gonna give him. I'm
Yeah.
just give him a 10. Like all round, he was
Oh, you.
just like it was
Really?
just a really solid weekend from him. Um, yeah, fair play. I can't fault him.
As much as I've said, I think he's all right, but I just don't like. I'm not a fan of him.
Mm-hmm.
He's a good lad, probably, but I've got to agree with you. Um, Pretty much perfect race. I'll dock him points because he did. No, did he get pole? He did get pole, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, I won't dock him points. Then I'm gonna say I dock him points because he didn't get pole, but he did get pole. So just ignore me.
Worst driver. Who have you got for worst driver?
What was the order? What was the finishing order?
The finishing order, let's see if we can do this in one go, was Verstappen, Hamilton, Perez, Leclerc, Ricardo, Bottas, Sainz, Norris, Tsunoda, Vettel, Giovinazzi, Stroll, Raikkonen, Russell, Latifi, Schumacher, Mazepin, and then Alonso, Ocon, and Gasly not finishing.
Hmm. I don't know. I don't know who to put for worst driver. I, I got Mazepin just because he's last of the runners,
Fair,
as per usual, and it's Mazepin.
fair.
And was it him or was it Schumacher that was holding them up
I think they both did at
at
different
one
points.
point?
It was right at the end was Schumacher.
Ah, right.
Um, there was yeah, there's always a couple of incidents with the Haas boys, isn't there? It's not like
Yeah.
it's never a simple thing. It's never a simple
No,
thing.
it's not. It's not. You're right. It's not. So yeah, I give it to Mazepin. Just go down the middle. I'll give him a 5.
I'm I don't want to give it to Mazepin just for the sake that he finished last. I'm looking through and I'm like, the people that we'd normally give them to outside of the Hasses actually did reasonably well. Like,
yeah, no.
Yuki did some great defending, although albeit he shouldn't really be doing defending against the faster drive because it cost him time overall, but it was still decent defense. I kind of half want to give it to Valtteri Bottas because he started ninth with his five place grid penalty. He finished sixth. Like, it was like a comfortable.
It's not really
comfortable.
Yeah,
sixth.
it's not really many positions as those.
It
is made up. So
yeah, in a race as well, that you could tell very early on that both Red Bulls were up there. That, he really did need to get a shift on, and his strategy wasn't great, but there was always time. Like, even halfway through the race, there was still time to do something about it, and he could have probably eked out fourth place. He definitely could have beat Ricciardo because he only finished about 4 seconds behind. But he definitely could have caught Charles, in my opinion. But Charles ended up finishing like 25-30 seconds up the road, and that's in a championship this close. That's just not on.
exactly.
It's not like he tried and failed. Basically, it's like it didn't look like he tried. So
no.
I'm going to give it to Valtteri. And I'm going to give him a 5.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Predictions. I think it's safe to say that we went into this thinking Mercedes were going to run away with it.
Yeah, it is.
Because for both the qualifying and for the race predictions, we've both put Hamilton either getting pole or the race win.
Yeah.
So predictions for quali, you had Hamilton, Verstappen, Perez, which was not correct. Very close. I had Hamilton, Verstappen, Bottas. Slightly further away. At the time, we didn't know as well that Bottas was going to get a 5 second penalty, so mine wouldn't have come true regardless.
Yeah, exactly.
In the race, you had Hamilton, Verstappen, Leclerc, so 3 of the top 4 just in the wrong order. I had Hamilton, Bottas, Verstappen, so I'm going to give you the win on this because at least in prediction for the quali, you had, it was Verstappen, Hamilton, Perez, and you had Hamilton, Verstappen, Perez.
You can't get your words out today.
It's not because I've written them down as like their 3-letter initials, so it's Ver and Per, and it's like
Verper.
I'm glad they're not the other way around.
There is a Verstappen.
Yeah, exactly. Pistachio is also another word that keeps coming to mind.
Yeah.
So we got those completely wrong. While we're on the predictions, I'm gonna say we should just jump straight into Mexico. A track that traditionally that Red Bull do slightly better at, but we having tested our knowledge of the US Grand Prix, I don't know whether to believe that.
I don't know. I'm gonna go first for quali.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go Verstappen, Hamilton, Perez.
Verhamper. That annoys me because that was similar to what I was going to go for. I'm gonna make a bold call and say it's Red Bull 1-2.
Ooh.
And then Hamilton.
Who are you going to pole and who are you going on second?
Second. Verstappen pole. Yeah.
Verstappen pole. Perez second.
I think Perez has definitely upped his game in the last couple of races. Excuse me.
He definitely was.
I think they in the last couple of races there's been. I think I heard that there was a setup change that Perez has started to move away from Max's setup, and that the team have sort of given in to the fact that they've not got it quite correct for a second driver, and that Max is a very unique driving style. So I'm hoping that actually Perez will get the best out of his car that he's not really had since like the start of the European leg.
It's gonna be interesting in Mexico because isn't it the longest run down to turn the first corner?
It's definitely a long run.
It's like 800. It's like 800 meters from the
Yeah, and then it's
pole
like,
position to the first corner.
and then there's another big run straight after that, isn't there?
Yeah.
There's a couple of straights to start off with, so it really by the time we get to like turn 3 or 4, I mean, there could be a decent gap there. Race, who are you going for?
I'm with my boy, Lulu.
King Lulu.
King Lulu.
Okay. What's the rest of the podium? Oh, just Hamilton.
Just Hamilton. Everybody else is going to have a massive crash. It's just going to be Hamilton on his Todd.
No, not even
just
big
him
Shaq
there. Yeah, he'll just have to stand next to him and look. Yeah. Now it'll be Hamilton, then it'll be me, and then it'll be Pope John Paul. Nah, it'll be. I'm gonna go Hamilton, Verstappen. Hamilton, Verstappen, and Berlek. I think Leclerc might do something.
I like that you didn't even pick a Pope that's living. You picked a Pope that's dead.
No, yeah, I can't think of the one that's alive now. I don't even know.
Pope
Francis.
Francis, and I think Benedict the 16th or something like that was the
Oh man, I just the first one that came to my head.
Sorry, so who are you actually saying? Hamilton?
Yeah, right. So Hamilton, Verstappen.
Yeah.
No, in fact, no. Hamilton, Leclerc,
Oh.
Perez.
Oh. Are you gonna say?
I'm going
what?
big.
That is very big. I think I've won this race.
I'm gonna say Verstappen's gonna have an accident and tangle with somebody,
Okay.
or have a mechanical issue.
Okay, in which case I'm playing safe. I'm going to say Verstappen, Hamilton, Perez.
Fair enough.
Because I think, sorry, I do not see the Ferraris being up there at all. We'll find out. I could be eating my words next week. Who knows? Or the week after, whenever this comes out. But back to the US Grand Prix. Safe to say, Max didn't have the best of starts.
No, he didn't.
I mean, Lewis's wasn't.
Lewis is decent.
Yeah, it wasn't phenomenal either, but it was.
No, but it was better than Max.
Good enough. Max wasn't pointed left. He was very adamant that he was going to go straight and then turn in at turn 1. At one of the wider turn-ins as well, so there was plenty of space. But then Lewis got alongside. Max really pushed Lewis in the end. A lot more than I thought he would. Like Lewis was over the pit line.
When?
At the start of the race.
Oh yeah. I thought you were
like he was way over, so that was a very tight battle into turn 1. It just felt like Max just didn't know what to do. Like, why would you not angle your car left on such a wide track?
He normally does that, and then obviously Hamilton got the inside line for the corner.
Yeah, it was. The first lap at COTA was actually just a really good lap. You had the leaders changing positions. You had the fight behind that. The fallout from Max was that Perez almost overtook him. Had that have been Lando Norris, there is no way that they're getting through there together. Norris is not going to back out of that. Obviously, Perez will back out.
Not a chance. I didn't want Perez to back out. Well, I know he's his teammate and everything, but
I know.
I just wanted him to just floor it and just.
That would have been so fun to watch. Because
going through that Maggots and Beckett's section, them two side by side, or just behind each other, one just behind the other one.
Yeah, this is the issue though with tracks like these at the end of the season, is that they sort of get ruined. Because of the World Championship being on the line, you don't have all the battles that you could have, which is what we mentioned last time, that maybe we should put the calendar with all the crap races first and all the good races at the end. But literally, I was thinking through the US Grand Prix, I was like, oh, but could you imagine if everyone backed out going through Maggots and Beckett's at Silverstone just because it's like the third to last race and the title's on the line? Like,
Yeah,
it's such a boring race.
It would. It definitely would, 100%.
So this is why my petition to keep Abu Dhabi at the end of this calendar is still there. We're going to actually keep it there. We're going to put Paul Ricard at the end as well.
Just have the ones with the massive runoff areas at the end.
Let's have all the fantastic battles at the start of the season where no one's got the title to think about.
Yeah, but we do want fantastic battles towards the end of the season, don't we?
We do.
I saw. I don't know when it was. I don't know if it was a few years ago in Mexico when Hamilton just crossed the line in front of Verstappen, or it was one race where they were proper close to each other. Or the picture might have been photoshopped. I'm not sure, but there was like less than a front wing in it, and I was like, imagine if that happened in Abu Dhabi, like Hamilton wins or overtakes Max on the last lap, and they're neck and neck through the last few cars, and Hamilton just pips him just to win the title, but like the length of his front wing.
That would be insane.
That would be unbelievable.
I mean, it's possible.
Do they have photo finish technology in Formula One?
Well, they got the timings, don't they? Like.
No, but I mean, like in horse racing, if they have the photo finish, don't they? Same with athletics and stuff. Can they look at the replays? Draw lines on like VAR.
I don't know. Like the timings is
never
down
happened,
to a
has it,
thousandth of a second. Like
yeah, I know,
realistically,
but I mean,
don't think a photo would be able to tell the difference. Because you've got to think the time between two frames on a video is going to be humongous compared to a thousandth of a second.
That's true. Yeah.
What happens if they're tied on the thousandth of a second? Who knows? Maybe there's a fourth digit.
Win.
Maybe there's a fourth digit that someone secretly knows.
A millisecond. Yeah. Total Wolf. Yeah, we did it by 1 millisecond.
Yeah. Anyway, it wasn't just Verstappen and Perez getting close through the turn 3, 4, 5, 6 section. There was Ferrari and McLaren going together quite nicely.
They had a good battle all the way through the race, to be fair.
You know what? I feel like...
I nearly said the McLarens and the Ferraris.
I feel like the start of this race sort of summed up most of the season, because you had the Mercedes and the Red Bull at the front, you had the McLarens and Ferraris just behind. There was the AlphaTauri guys fighting it out for the last of the points. You had George Russell making a great start, which is absolutely not indicative of normal behaviour.
No.
But he couldn't go backwards, because he pretty much started. He did start last, didn't he? So.
Yeah, I think so. Why did he start last?
He had an engine
penalties and stuff.
Engine penalty.
Ah, right, okay.
Him, Vettel, and Alonso, and Vettel and Alonso starting next to each other.
Oof.
Yeah.
6 World Championships between them.
Just think about that when if you're Vettel and Alonso, and you're like, there's 6 world titles between us. You know, we've both been racing for 14 years together.
Yeah.
Maybe 12 if you exclude Alonso's couple of years out.
Yeah.
and then in front of him you've got Mazepin and Schumacher. He's like, oh dear. Dear.
One's Nikita Mazepin, the other's a sort of a 7-time world champion.
Yeah. Well, that was the
and
other.
And a future world champion as well, probably.
You mentioned that the other Haas incidents. There was one with one of the Haas's and Vettel. I remember because the commentators were like, I really hope that's not Mick Schumacher, because Mick looks up to Vettel so much, and it wasn't. It was the Haas.
It was Nikita, Japanese Nikita.
What?
The shame is not Akita, and he's not Japanese. Otherwise, he'd be Japanese Akita.
It's Akita. He's not.
He'd be a Japanese Akita.
Not fast enough.
No, he's not. No.
But Alonso, before his rear wing failure, did get through the pack with Vettel fairly easily.
What was it?
Until
Oh, he had a battle with Raikkonen.
the old boys. Combined age of
Kimbo.
82 or something like that.
Yeah.
What a little tussle that was.
I bet it was quality. During the first corner, he pushed him wide, did he?
Yeah.
Raikkonen pushed him wide, and then I think he did the biggest dive bomb I've ever seen. Missed the corner, and then...
I totally understand why... Like, through the Turn 1 incident, I totally understand both sides of the argument. Like, I understand why Alonso would think that Raikkonen had the advantage going off track. But probably only there because Alonso opened the steering and pushed Raikkonen.
Did you...
Track. You see the amount of damage, though?
No, I didn't see what damage did he have? Who had damage?
Raikkonen, like, his car was almost disintegrated going over the bumps. There was so much carbon fibre and stuff. But that's why that virtual safety car got called. Because of the debris. Marshall ran out and got it on the track.
It's bumpy, isn't it, man? Aren't they resurfacing it? COTA?
I've heard that they're going to resurface it because of MotoGP. Whether that is actually the case or not, I don't know. And I kind of don't want them to. Because it's a new track. Let it have some character. Like,
yeah, we want it to be a car. Well, not a car killer, but kind of a car killer.
Not necessarily a car killer, but just make it a difficult... Like, the fact that Max Verstappen can go around at like 170 through some tricky corners, like that first sector is designed around Maggots and Beckett's. It's meant to be
it is tough. It's meant to be.
And yet he you can still work that out and make the call of strategy and things like that on the same sort of laps. Like, arguably, they're not being challenged enough most of the race.
No, but it does kill cars because obviously Vettel a few years back had a suspension failure there.
Yeah. Turn 9.
Did Gasly have a suspension failure?
Gasly's suspension.
Is that why they retired him?
Yeah.
That's why they retired him. So it does take its toll, doesn't it, on suspensions?
It does. I don't know what caused Gasly's suspension issue, but given the fact that he had an engine sensor issue going into the race, that car...
It wasn't worth it, was it?
That car just didn't feel like it was right at any point when it jumped. We got an onboard camera or anything. It just didn't look like it was going to work to the end of the race anyway. The ones that I'm more worried about were the Alpines. Like, I don't know why.
What happened to Ocon?
He had a mechanical issue when they retired the car.
What happened to Fernando?
His rear wing broke.
When they say broke, what do they mean?
I don't know.
Like, was it not opening if through DRS or what?
But you'd stay out for that.
Did it come loose or?
Unless it was a safety issue, it must have just been a properly broken wing because
unless one of the support struts had snapped or something, or there was a crack in it.
That's what I mean. There's no way that if it was just DRS, there's no way you'd bring him in. You'd leave him out.
Because you could stay out for that.
Exactly.
You can fix that mechanically remotely as well, I think, can't you?
Well, it depends what the issue is, I guess, but.
Yeah, unless it's like a crack that they saw in one of the struts or from the data or something, and it was like, oh yeah, if that keeps going, it'll rip the rear wing off or something.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
But can we talk about Alpine's sassy in radio?
We can go back to the Alonso Raikkonen stuff. Yeah,
with Michael Massey.
Yeah, I think that saved
I
Alonso.
giggled. Yeah, I did. I giggled at that. I was like, "Oh, you go on, lad."
I don't know when that message got sent. My presumption is that it was as soon as they got told to hand the place back to Raikkonen, rather than when it. Obviously it's not going to go out when it was put on air. So I don't think it was later on in that battle where, in the next one where Fernando just dive bombed and went off the track anyway. I don't think it was meant to save him. But the producers at F1 TV know what they're doing. they know when they've got a sassy message like that, they're going to wait for Alonso to do something first.
And then play it. Oh, mate. I was like, go on, lad. I don't know who, I can't remember what the guy, Alpine's guy was called, but I was like, go on, lad. I'm really
like,
so we could overtake off the track. He went, no, I said, well, look at me. I said, no, what you can't do is like, well, fair. He's done it, so I was like, go on.
I really like that they brought that in, the communications to the FIA. What I would really like really like is to hear the stewards' discussions on things. Maybe not in the
Oh,
race, but that Alpine message sort of showed the point that Michael Massey doesn't make the calls because it's the stewards that make the calls. He's the one running the race, really. He can't really explain what's the decision's going to be
I
before.
thought it was Michael Massey. I thought he had decisions in what happens.
No, I think the stewards are the ones that actually look at what's gone on, and
So what does Michael Massey do then?
he controls the race.
Just
I think he's the guy that makes the call on at what point is it a safety car, is it VSC, is it red flag.
Oh, so he
He's the
tells
one
the stewards like
explaining
throw a safety car, throw a red flag, throw.
Yeah, well, so it's a little bit. So each of the marshals on their posts have like an automated thing where they can immediately signal for a yellow flag, and then in that little sector will be a yellow flag.
And then Michael Massey will be like, yeah, throw it.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit more than that. But I think having that FIA chat is good, particularly for things like Spa, like when they were trying to understand what's going on. Understanding that the teams are not actually always in the know. Like, we've just taken that for granted that, okay, commentators won't be in the know because they're external viewers like us.
Yeah.
Yes, they've got sources, but they're not, in the teams. And obviously, when you get like Christian Horner or Zach Brown on the actual chat, they're not going to give away their secrets. Like Christian said after the race, like, as soon as they were talking last time with the commentators, their tyres were gone, but there were no way in the world were they going to say that.
Yeah.
When you actually then hear the FIA chat, you're like, oh, they actually don't know what's going on in some cases.
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
That needs to stay. They need to keep that for next season, please.
I'm sure they will. I'm sure they will.
I think they need to do it more frequently because they don't really do it in every race. They only do it in like a few races. Like once every like 2 or 3 races. I'm like, at least do like one every race or something, or 1 or 2 every race.
I guess it depends on what's being said. If there's no interest in being said, then
yeah, well, yeah, I get that, but
rather not overdo it. It's nice.
Yeah.
It's nice to have, but it's not.
It's nice when it pops up. You're like, oh wait, what's this? What's going to happen here? I'm like, oh.
Anyway, right. The main talking point of the race was Max Verstappen coming in much earlier than anybody expected.
Yeah, it was. Do you think they brought him in too early?
For the first stop, I thought interesting strategy. Lots could still be done with it. Especially with Lewis sticking to a longer strategy. For the second one, I thought actually they've cocked this up, like majorly cocked this up. What I then didn't expect was Lewis to then go, was it target plus 6 or 7, something like that?
Yeah,
that
plus
then
6. I think.
Felt like the error from Red Bull coming in too early was way offset by Mercedes coming in too late. I think they should have brought Lewis in after 3 or 4 extra.
Yeah, because obviously he still had that gap, didn't he? And he could have.
He'd still have had more.
If not,
more of a gap to play
he'd have
with.
had a less
of a deficit.
Yeah, that's what I mean. He wouldn't have been so far behind. If
he could have pushed harder on the tire, harder on the tires towards the end, because he would have been able to save them at the start a little bit more.
Yeah.
So when he gets to him, he's got an extra couple of laps to play with. The issue was always going to be the same as it always is. It's easy to catch. It's really difficult to overtake.
It's what Murray Walker. That was a famous quote.
So unbelievably difficult.
It's easy to catch. It's a lot harder to overtake. Yeah, I know.
That Mercedes in dirty air just does not like it. And then
it doesn't.
But he did it, and everyone was like, "It's the last 3 laps that are going to count." And then you're there, and you're like, "Okay, it's lap 53."
I was watching the timing screens. I was like, "Oh,
lap
please.
53 of 56. Right, okay, we're getting there now." And
I was like watching the timing. You got less than a second. I was like, "Please just dive bomb me. Please go for the dive bomb. Please go for the dive bomb."
Yeah.
And then he just and then Max pulled away. I was like,
well, it was the issue was really Mick Schumacher saved Max, I think. Initially,
he should have just dived out of the way.
Well, initially we're like, this is going to cost him. Mick's done it for Lewis. Oh my days. and then he gets the DRS on the main straight, and you're like, oh, that's that then. That's done.
Yeah.
Right, Max is
I
won.
know. Yeah, it's one of them, because where we're on track, you can't really pull over. It was like the Maggots and Beckett section, wasn't it, where they were following Schumacher, so can't have really done really much.
I thought it was to the end of the lap, which is where.
Oh, was it? Yeah, no, it was, yeah.
Because it was over the start finish straight that Max got the DRS on it.
Oh yeah, apologies. It was, yeah, apologies.
But yeah, even so,
I mean, that's a lot wider, so you could have just pulled over someone.
Yeah, but
yeah.
It wasn't great from Mick, but
no.
The fact that it did give the DRS to Max way offset it. So, I mean, you can't complain. But if Max hadn't have got that DRS,
and Lewis had, I've probably to turn one. Anybody?
I think it'd been a lot more than a dive bomb. I think there'd been some proper
airplane crash.
That'd have been literally elbow. I think elbows would have been out of the cockpit.
Wheel banging. Been a bit of wheel banging.
That could have ended either really badly or been super tasty.
Oh, 100%. And then if they'd have carried it on for the Maggots and Beckett section.
Yeah. Here's the thing, though. Given how mature a drive that was from Max, do you think he would have got involved with some argy-bargy, or would he have accepted second place?
It's and Max, also, he has that ruthless and angry side to him.
He does, but also secondary to this, had it got a little bit dodgy, would Lewis have backed out knowing full well that second is better than not finishing?
You know what? I think they'd have taken it cautiously, because obviously they've crashed a few times this season and they've come together a few times. I don't know. I reckon they'd have battled, but like it'd be like proper close, like, and then one of them would have overtaken the other on the straight, one on the back straight, cleanly.
Yeah.
Where there's less of a chance of them coming together.
Yeah, thinking about it, that is probably the more sensible option. I would like to see those guys have gone wheel to wheel through the first sector.
Yeah.
I genuinely, at this point, don't think that would happen unless you had the guarantee that if one of you's crashed, you both crashed, sort of situation.
Yeah.
For example, let's look at their previous incidents. At Cops, realistically, Lewis knows if there's going to be a crash, he's probably going to get away with it a little bit easier.
Yeah.
He's got more of a chance of surviving, so it's a risk worth taking. Whereas,
yeah, definitely.
in Monza, it was definitely more of a, well, if we crash, there's a gravel trap right in front of both of us. Neither of us are getting out of this, unless Max takes the avoiding action, which he just wasn't going to do.
Oh no, he wasn't. Not a chance.
So Lewis's mind is going to be more towards we're both going out anyway, so with no one's losing points, it's worth the risk.
Yeah.
Here, at COTA, you're like, there's a wide runoff at the top, and there's a barrier on the outside, but there's a little bit of run.
It's grass, not gravel.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah. But and then it's just a barrier that you've got to worry about.
Yeah, exactly.
Realistically, unless Lewis dive bombs and T-bones Max into the barrier, they're probably both getting out of that perfectly fine. It's probably not worth the risk to dive bomb and go for it, because you're probably going to lose it more than anyone else.
But if they'd have gone into the first corner and they'd have done what Perez and Verstappen did in the first lap and gone wheel to wheel out of that last, who do you think Hamilton was pulling out of that if he's coming out of that second, or do you think he's just flooring it?
Depends. If they'd stayed with like Lewis going down the inside of turn 1.
Yeah.
So Lewis is on the left into turn 2, and they stay like that, then Lewis is probably on the better side because there's so much more runoff on the left that he can bail.
Yeah.
At least without taking too much damage. Whereas Max has got a much bumpier side and not as much runoff. It's still quite a lot. Like, they're not going to crash.
Yeah.
But I think Lewis has the better hand there, especially when then you've got like, was it 9-8-9 is like left-handed, so that would favour Lewis's side. But
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
this is all hypothetical.
I know.
There is no way that they're going to say side by side going through that section. One of them will
Not a
have to back
chance.
out,
Oh yeah,
knowing
definitely.
full well that the title's on the line there. Because it is at the point now where if one of them doesn't finish, that's pretty much it. That's game.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Mhm.
Max DNF in Mexico. Max DNF in Mexico. Please, God, please make it happen.
Well, it's all right because Valtteri's hopefully not got an engine penalty in the next race. So Hungary 2021 all over again.
Yeah.
Yeah, Valtteri was 6th ICE of the season.
6, Jesus.
Which is...
It's only 5 points grid penalty, isn't it? After you take your one after you've allocated is 10, and then every other one after that's 5.
Yeah. And it has just been the ICE that he's been taking, really. Like, yeah, he's overdone it on everything else, but I think the rest of the the control electronics and stuff are all fine to the end of the season, I think COTA said. So the problem that they've got is within the ICE, which is kind of worrying for all the other Mercedes teams.
Yeah, it is. Is there any teams that haven't taken an injury penalties yet or not?
Ooh, good question. I don't know. I actually don't know.
Do you get a 5 points grid penalty if you finish at the back? If you qualify at the back, if you qualify last?
Yeah.
Does it count? Or does it...
Yeah. Why wouldn't it?
No, but I mean, like, if say for example, in Mexico they took a grid penalty.
Yeah.
And they start last.
Yeah.
Well, it's coming to affect in Mexico, or will it come to affect the race after? Because they're last and they
Well,
can't go back. They can't go any further back than last.
Guarantee that they're going to be any higher anyway. Literally, Nikita's been at the back of the grid every single race. If he takes a penalty, at what point do you apply it?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Or they just give him a pit lane start.
I don't know. I think that it would just apply and you just start at the back anyway. It'd just be effectively a free penalty. Because otherwise, if you're going to do that rule, then whenever you've had a bad qualifying, you can't just take a penalty anyway. So like when Ricciardo's just made it through to Q2 and finished like 13th, 14th, when he then takes a penalty, you can't do that then. You're going to have to carry over 3 or 4 of those places to the next race. Otherwise, it's not fair. That just gets very messy very quickly.
Yeah, it does, yeah. It's just a thought that I had, that was all.
Because, yeah. I mean, the only thing that would prevent would be like the McLarens back in like 2016-17 when they took like 120 places worth of penalties. So,
but then they've changed the rules for the grid penalties, so you can't have that many now.
Yeah, whatever that stupid rule was, it would stop that sort of thing, like them over purchasing on the penalties. But
would they be able to, if they took like all the allocated engine parts, so MGU, MGUH and all that, all in one go?
Yeah.
Additional ones. Obviously, you get a penalty. Would they all the penalties apply at once?
Yeah, I would think so.
What? Yeah.
Which is why you'd get like a 20 place penalty for a full power unit change.
Engine swap, a full power unit change.
Yeah, because it's not just the ICE, would be just a 10, wouldn't it? Or 5.
Yeah.
In Valtteri's case.
Buy for everyone you go over after you're allocated. After the extra first one you go over.
Yeah. So after this race, Max has opened his lead to 12 points. Not unheard of to come back from that. There's still a number of races left this season, so we're not actually that worried so far. But it is the biggest lead that there's been between the two of them for quite a long time.
Yeah.
But again, having said that, win and fastest...
Lewis does well at Mexico, though.
A win and fastest lap is an 8-point difference. It's only a 12-point gap. And there's 5 races left.
Oh, it's fucking juicy, isn't it?
is a good 5 races left. Mexico.
Well, we don't know what Saudi Arabia is going to be like, do we? So.
Well, we don't know. Or Qatar. That's a good point. But
Oh yeah, shit! I forgot about Qatar.
what I would say is, I'm trying to be as positive about this as I can be, because if I'm not, there's literally no point me watching the last 3 races because I don't think they should be going ahead anyway. But if we take politics and that lot out of it and just try and enjoy it.
Is Australia happening?
No.
Oh, okay.
So we've got Mexico, then the Sao Paulo Grand Prix, not the Brazilian Grand Prix.
Brazil.
And then the triple header to finish in the Middle East.
Is it Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Abu Dhabi?
Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Abu Dhabi, yes.
Abu Dhabi. I want to see the changes to Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, it looks good, but I don't know if it's going to have that much of an effect. But my question is this, is the fact that we've got, of the 5 races, we've got only 3 of them that we actually know roughly what's going to happen. Does the likelihood of Qatar and Saudi Arabia actually favour the experienced driver, even if actually it's a Red Bull track? Does it favour Lewis because of his experience, because of the wide range of tracks that he has raced and won on?
Yeah.
Or is Max... Max is not inexperienced. This is like his 7th or 8th season. This is not...
Yeah, but he's not as experienced as Lewis, is he? Oh.
Agreed. And he's not raced on that much of a varied calendar.
No, he hasn't.
Whereas you look at the start of Lewis's... look at the tracks that Lewis has raced on that we don't race anymore. Like...
Magny-Cours, Korea, India...
Fuji, that sort of...
Malaysia.
Yeah, Max has raced at Malaysia.
Oh, right, yeah.
He did, his first couple of years.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Valencia.
There's been loads of tracks that have come in and gone in Lewis's time in Formula 1.
That Max hasn't had the opportunity to.
Yeah, like Lewis won the old Indy Grand Prix,
2007.
Like that's, you know what I mean. That's he's raced on such a wide range of tracks that actually a brand new track probably doesn't. Like, it's not a thing for him. Yeah. Obviously, they're not that new when, their simulator time is going to already be underway, so it's not going to be a brand new circuit for them anyway.
But look at the new circuits we had last year. Portimao. Hamilton won that race. That was the first race we'd been at Portimao. Mugello, he won that. Did he win Mugello? Pretty sure he did with Mugello.
Off the top of my head, I can't remember. Mugello was...
He might have won Mugello. I can't remember. Turkey. I think that was the first time Max had raced at Turkey, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's first time a lot of people raced at Turkey.
Hamilton won that. So, it's... first race is at Russia. Hamilton won that.
Just having a quick look through, yes. Hamilton won in...
Mugello.
The Tuscan Grand Prix.
Yeah, which is Mugello.
Yeah, he did, yeah.
He also... Did he win Imola last year as well?
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, but Lewis won a lot last year.
No, but the new tracks that we went to, the point you've just made, the new tracks that he went to, he dealt with them better than the other guys.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the tracks that we went to. For last year, the new tracks we went to.
Mugello,
Max retired in. Imola, Max retired in.
Yeah.
Turkey, Max finished 6th. Portugal, Max finished 3rd. We were back at the Eiffel Grand Prix for Nürburgring, which is not a new track.
Oh, yeah.
But
no, it's not.
Change.
No. Max hasn't really raced at Nürburgring.
Max finished 2nd and got fastest lap. So it's not unheard of for him to do well.
No, but
it's definitely not. You look at Lewis's track record suggests that actually he should do quite well at the new tracks.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, who knows? We'll find out.
Only time will tell.
One little bit of news that I want to finish on, which is the fantastic news that Jack Aitken in Abu Dhabi FP1 will be driving the Williams again. Yes, what a
Oi.
comeback! What
Go on,
fantastic
lads.
news! Um,
What happened to him?
he had a crash and broke his collarbone and stuff like that. So he's been
Right,
been out of
been
it
out
for a little while.
recuperating.
But it's great news. I still don't think
Whose
he'll.
car is he driving? George's or
I would have thought it's
Nicholas's?
probably going to be George's. Yeah.
Alright.
I mean, probably. Given that George is the number one driver and he's leaving, like,
Yeah.
if there's
Why
anyone that you want to keep in the car for extra time, it's going to be the guy who's going to drive next year.
Second drive. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Um,
But they might just want to keep George because it's his last race in a Williams.
I think he can deal with an FP1 out.
Yeah, he can have some time off, put his feet up.
I think also having, not just because George is leaving and it's going to be Latifi driving the car next year, but literally because of that, you've got a very equal comparison between Aitken as a development driver and Latifi as a full-time driver in the same session. So the conditions are the same on track and stuff like that. Okay, the cars are still different.
Yeah.
But you've then got a much more direct comparison, which I think would help Williams a lot more than if it was the other way around.
Yeah, that is a good point, to be fair.
Right.
Thanks, guys, for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure you leave a like and hit the subscribe button. Check out the links to the socials down below. If not, I will read them out now. It's IOSportscast on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Make sure you check us out on Spotify, Apple Music, Apple Podcasts, and whatever other podcast streaming sites there are out there. Make sure you like and share with your friends. I hope you all enjoyed, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you all for listening. It's been fun. Goodbye.
See ya.